And welcome to another edition of Off the Glass here on BBB Channel 12. We appreciate you tuning in to talk about Oak Ridge High School basketball. We're going to have a special show today. Of course, we have a couple of members of the Lady Wildcats here. Gracie Heron and Cannon Green will be joining us a little bit later. Let's flip it over there. Let's let them get a look at them. So there they are. They'll be coming up on the show here in a few short moments. But, Coach, we have highlights from last week, Carnes and Anderson County. We also have some highlights from last night's game. I actually don't want to do it in this order, but let's talk about Powell.
Sure.
Yeah, Powell was a huge ball game for you all last night. I mean, it was, and you and I talked on the air, I guess Friday, about how important it was in terms of the district, and because the last couple of years you've been co-champions with Campbell County, and you had an opportunity to kind of put away Powell, but didn't play your best ball. In fact, I think you told me last night after the game might have been the worst ball that you had played this year.
I do. I think on both ends, basketball or as far as offense and defense, it was the worst game.
I'm sorry, what? Oh, sorry about that. We're having a little technical issue. Live television, it happens sometimes. Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was saying, I think both ends of the court, offensively and defensively, the worst game we've played all year.
Any just explain why you thought that.
If I knew, I would that would be great. I just felt like defensively we guarded them really well at Powell. I mean, we knew their strengths. They're a three-point shooting team, and we did not defend the three at all. They had threes in half court. They had threes in transition. We were not picking up in transition. We weren't looking for shooters. We weren't getting back. Offensively, they played a little just a soft zone, kind of laying off of us a little bit. And I think there was frustration in our girls trying to get to the paint. And they didn't feel like they could. They weren't reading the gaps. We had 0 offensive rebounds. Well, I'm sure we did have offensive rebounds, but 0 offensive rebounding consistently.
I got it.
It was when you play a team like that, that's basically 5 guards, and that all of them can shoot the three, and all of them I'm from deep. But when we defend and we guard, they can't get those shots off, and we didn't do that. And I felt like they just wanted the game more, and we can't wait until the last 4 minutes of the game to decide that we're ready to play. Not against a team, because they're streaky shooters. They're rhythm, especially the sisters. They're rhythm shooters, and when you let rhythm shooters get in their rhythm, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, the Trum sisters who you're talking about. Bailey, she's got almost close to a state record in threes, and her sister. Her shot's not pretty, but it always goes in.
Yeah.
She's kind of.
But again, with our length and our quickness on defense, the first game that we played them, they struggled getting those shots off, and they didn't struggle last night. And when you leave a shooter wide open, they're going to make shots and they're going to get confidence. And the more the team ends up with 12 threes for the game.
Coach, there was some highlights, and we're going to do this a little out of order. Dylan, if you'll roll the Powell highlights, there were some highlights, but like you said, a lot of them were in the last 4 minutes.
Right.
Obviously, this game was played at the Wildcat Arena. You fell behind 8-0, and Hope hit that three right there, and that was first 3 points you scored. And then
right.
I think you got it up to, at one point, 14-12. I think that was the closest that you came to them. And then they built up a lead, 13, I think, maybe even 14 points. Then you made a nice little run there at the end.
Right, we did. And the positive thing is that we fought back. We didn't quit. We didn't give up, and we were in a position to, for it to be a ball game at the end. But again, to start out in a game like that, the level that we played at, it's just not. It's not where you want to be right now. But I do feel like, I'd almost rather have that upset happen last night than in a district tournament.
Yeah, it was kind of a rare off night shooting for Kamari.
Yeah.
I thought. She took a lot of shots, and a lot of those, most of the time, they go in.
Right.
But I thought Hope provided a little more offense than she normally did, and Bree. She made her charges to the goal every once in a while, but there in the first half, you're right.
We didn't have anything.
Settling for a lot of threes. Too.
Right, and we weren't making them.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, you think you'd be more comfortable in your own gym, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. They seemed to be very comfortable in our gym. And
Yeah.
this was towards the end of the ball game, and when you made a nice little run. In fact, you actually had the opportunity to tie the ball game. I think it'll come up here in a second. And,
Right.
you know, I think Kamari's only 3 in the game. I think Bree hit a couple down the stretch there
Right.
at the end, which helped, obviously. And you know, I think Kamari ended up, I think, with, there's Bree, and made it right there, a 3-point game, I believe.
Yeah.
And then right there, they made a mistake on the baseline.
Right.
You got the ball back. You had actually a good look
Yeah, we
at
did.
the 3, and you know, I was thinking Jada all over again, but it just didn't go in for you, and you lose it
Yeah.
by 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one to lose. Like I said, at least we fall back. You know, that's the positive part, but there's a lot of negative you can take from it. But, you know, I told the girls after the game, we're done. We're not going to harp on it. We're not going to dwell on it because we've got a place somewhere to go. And we can, you know, we're at a point in our season where teams, like at this point, we could look at that and we could just crumble and fall apart, or we could come together and go up from here. And I think I said this to you on the radio. I told them in the locker room, I said, I know which way I'm going. You know, who wants to go with me? So hopefully, and we had a good practice today. You know, it was a really good practice, and so I feel good about where we're at.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How did they respond when they came back in?
Yeah, we had a good practice today. I mean, the attitudes were good, positive energy. You know, really good effort. So I was pleased with it.
Let's roll, Dylan. Let's roll the highlights from Thursday and Friday. And I'm just going to ask you this: these 2 teams you played, Carnes, obviously, and Anderson County. They're at the lower part of the district. And
Right.
I remember you telling me Friday night after the ball game, and this is the Carnes game, obviously, Thursday. But I think you told me that you were disappointed because you missed some layups, missed some free throws, and some things. And I think it helps when you play better competition. You had
Right.
back-to-back ball games, and actually, if you go back to Halls and the way Central's
Right.
been playing, you haven't really been playing great competition the last 2 weeks.
Right. It was a tough stretch for us. And I knew, I said Friday night, like I said, I told them, like I saw it coming. You could see it, and and then last night, we missed, what did we miss that could have gotten us in the game? Enough free throws to win and enough layups to win. So.
And these 2 games were one was definitely a record-setting. I mean, you gave up 10 points to Carnes, and then you gave up 6 points to Anderson County. So you gave up 16 points in 2 ball games, which, I mean, even though you didn't play your best ball, that's still pretty impressive.
Right.
Yeah. So at least your defense at times was good.
Right, but obviously, then we turn around last night and play a team that can shoot, and then we don't play defense at all. So that's the frustrating part. But that, like I said, that's behind us. We're gonna move on from here. We've got, Clinton will be a matchup for us Friday night, and then going into next week we have Carnes again, and then we're going to Campbell County to close out the district. That's gonna be a tough game.
Yeah, the district, right now you're tied with PAL, so I think they have the easier teams left on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 2 of the best teams
Right.
left with
Right.
obviously, Campbell County going up there is going to be tough. Clinton is a much improved team. I mean, if they get hot, if they play well, they have been playing well at times this year. So, it's
Right.
not going to be easy.
No, it's not going to be easy, but honestly, I would rather play those teams at the end because you're preparing for the postseason, and it helps you prepare even more.
I communicated today, we were talking about, Kamari's approaching 1,000 points in her career. Bree went over 800 last week. So you've got some scores that that can contribute, and Rajay's been contributing, but
Right.
she was off last night, and
Right.
it was just a bad night to be off, I
And,
guess.
and it was a bad night for several to be off.
Yeah, and it happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's basketball. You can't, like you said it twice, and I don't want to dwell on it, but
Right.
I mean, because to me it's over too. But I look at their PAL schedule coming up here. You get a chance to play them again.
Mm-hmm.
They feel comfortable on our floor now, which is kind of scary to me. But if you play your kind of basketball, I still think you're the better team.
I hate to, I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant, at all, but if I had to pick a team between us and PAL 10 times, I would pick my team every time.
The other district, District 4, I've noticed some of the Maryville scores. Farragut obviously is good. We saw them in the preseason. How does that other district look?
They're top four. I mean, it's a battle every night. Farragut, Maryville, Bearden, Heritage would be who I think everyone would consider their top four. And I mean, it's going to be a challenge, you know. And Bearden sits in that zone that they always play, and they've got some height. They've got some good guards. Maryville, they shoot the ball really, really well when they're on. They're good. Farragut's the exact same way. They're all guards, shoot the three, and then. I don't know a lot about Heritage, but I do know the coaches over there tell me they're one of the best teams over there.
This is the Anderson County game here, and as you said, your next ball game is Friday night at Clinton, and there was some concern during the middle part of the day because Clinton, I think, is out for the rest of the week because of flu. I know in Knox County, you if they're not in school, they can't play. So what's the status on that?
Well, that was the original status here too, and we started looking at, well, when do we do a makeup game? And you look at next week, and we already have 2 games. I think they have 2 or 3. I can't remember. The next week we have 3 games. I didn't want to go in the district tournament having out of the past 4 weeks playing 3 games a week, because last week we had 3 games. Mm-hmm. You'd be looking at 3 games next week and 3 games the next. And we have a tough schedule the next 2 weeks.
Right.
And so we were looking at possibly tomorrow night because Anderson County was allowed to play tomorrow night, and I think Coach Mullins talked, and it worked out that we could just keep it Friday night.
So I was watching Selena Pettis. I thought Selena played maybe her best game of the year.
She did Friday, yes, she did. Offensively, she played really well, and defensively.
I noticed last night Talia played a little bit more than Samaj. Was that a matchup issue or just?
I just think I think we were getting a little bit more production out of Talia than we were Samaj at the time, and we had to go with what was working the best.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. I guess an in-game decision. You kind of watch how. Do you watch them in warm-ups too to see how they're playing, shooting, their attitudes and such?
We joke. If you watch us in warm-ups, you would think we were the Bad News Bears. It's like if we're throwing the ball across the backboard and not drawing iron, we're going to have a pretty good game. It really just depends. But we joked about that. That started in Phoenix last year. People would watch us warm up and think we couldn't walk and chew gum.
Here in a moment, we're going to be speaking to Gracie Herring and Cannon Green, members of the Lady Wildcats, about their seasons and the younger players on the team. Obviously, Cannon, I guess the only freshman that dresses out every ball game.
Yeah, Jade Schwingy has been hurt. She got hurt in a freshman game early on. We're hoping to have her back this weekend.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I know she's been in a boot for a long time. Is she obviously out of the boot?
She's out of the boot, and she's been having physical therapy for the past probably 3 or 4 weeks. And so we're hoping that she was going today. I haven't heard from her if she's been released or not.
Obviously, a lot of highlights in this one. Another layup there by Selena. I think she was close to double digits in scoring there.
Selena gets her hands on a lot of balls that you wouldn't think she would get her hands on. She seems to always be in the right place at the right time. And
so you won 2 out of the 3, and you head back into district play. Let's turn our attention to the ladies over there. As you look on the screen there on the left, that's Gracie Herring. On the right, that is Cannon Green. And obviously, we'll start with you all. Talk about your season. You obviously are young, and Gracie, you played a little bit last year, had some injuries, kind of kept you out for the most part. Cannon, you've been around the program a long time, obviously, just as even with your mother as the coach, and before that, your dad as the boys coach. But talk about your seasons. How do you think you all have played, personally?
I think we've done really good, and I think we've all had a lot of fun so far.
I think that we've all grown as players and learned how to play together. Like at the beginning of the season, we all acted like we didn't know how to play with each other, but now we are a family. We can play together.
Coach, you got 2 different kinds of players over there. You've got a post player who is around the goal, and your daughter, obviously, she's a shooter and can handle the basketball. Talk about their strengths, as from a coaching perspective, their strengths.
Gracie is probably, in the 5 years that we've coached, she's the only true post player, that actually has true post moves. We talk about that all the time. And unfortunately, last year she did. One of our first practices went down with a knee injury and battled with that until Christmas. And finally, we found out she'd torn her ACL. And so she missed, I would say she missed all of her freshman year. So she's, coming in. And she was a solid basketball player before, but it's a big transition from middle school to high school. And she can shoot the basketball. She's got a really good touch, and like I said, she's got post moves. She's smart. She has the best hands of anyone that I've coached too. I mean, you can throw her anything and she's going to catch it. Prior to her last year, the summer going into her freshman year, I mean, she was running the floor. It was amazing at team camp. I mean, we were just throwing the ball to her and she was running the floor. She had a great preseason last year. And she's still working her way back in, and I feel like, there's so much upside to Gracie, and where the struggle is right now is probably more defensive than anything, the way we want to play. But the positive thing of Gracie is she tries. It's not for lack of trying. And when she's doing that, she's only going to get better. But she's going to have a great impact with us. And there's going to be possibly in the postseason some really good matchups for people to see Gracie really play.
Well, let me address Gracie. I'll come back to Cannon here. How is your health? I mean, you're obviously they say when you have a catastrophic knee injury like a torn ACL, you're a little bit hesitant, and it's a mental thing as much as a physical thing. How is your health in terms of your knee and such?
When I first came back, I was nervous that I was going to hurt it again because, I wasn't, trustworthy of myself. But, from now to then, I've had, a lot of support, and I feel like I've done better. I can get up down the court better with it, and I actually trust myself to jump, unlike I did in the beginning.
What part of your game do you think you need to work on the most?
Probably being bending my knees and being a defensive stance so I can guard on the perimeter.
Okay. Coach, let's talk about Cannon here.
So, Cannon, I mean, she's mine, so it's a little bit different. But from a coach's perspective and what I do know about her, prior to coming to high school, she'd never taken a three-point shot in her life in a game or anything. And so, we've expanded her range, I think, and we've got some drills that we do that's helped doing that. She's a smart player. An advantage that she has that a lot of them don't is she has been around the program, and she understands. She's heard terms, and defensively she knows what we want, and what we teach and that sort of thing. But she works extremely hard. She's got to have more confidence. It's a big jump, and she loves to play on the floor with, say, Bree. Bree coaches her through things, and gives her confidence. And I would say all of the girls have embraced her and would have done the same to Jade. Jade just hadn't been able to be a part of it as much. But she's learned a lot from all of them, and she will continue. She's got to have more confidence and relax when she's playing on the court when she gets out there.
Cannon, were you nervous the first time you got into the varsity game?
Yes, I was very nervous. I still get nervous.
Thinking about all the times you've been around the program, thinking back to the players you've watched play, who is the first person that comes to mind as a Lady Wildcat that you remember watching play? Because both you and your brother were really small when you all first got here. Who do you remember watching? And was there any player that you kind of thought, well, I want to be like that person?
Jada, because Jada was a freshman, when I was first around everybody. I really liked Micaiah. I would say I was probably the closest with Micaiah, but Jada and Micaiah for sure.
Well, I asked Gracie this. What do you think your weaknesses are as a player, and what will you have to do? This is back to Cannon. What are your weaknesses? What do you think you need to work on the most?
Definitely my confidence, because I get really nervous and I get in my own head a lot.
Yeah, I think that comes with experience, Coach. I mean, I remember when Jada was a freshman. I mean, she
Right.
wasn't the most confident person. I mean, she was a totally different person last year, obviously,
Right.
but her freshman year, I mean, she didn't like to shoot. She was kind of tentative, a little bit farther advanced than most of them. But I think
Right.
that's just a natural progression of it.
It is, and it's just getting comfortable, and I'd say it's a little bit uncomfortable for Kenan. I don't know if she would admit it or not. The fact that she's my daughter, you know, and it's just, you know, there's probably a little bit of pressure there.
I've got to ask you this, Ken. What's it like playing for your mother? I mean, what is that like?
I mean, I've always kind of played with like for her because she's coached my AAU team, but this year was like a lot different. It was scary in the beginning. It's gotten a lot better, and I enjoy it. Like I like playing for her.
Gracie, I'm going to come back to you just here for a second. Last year, you got a chance to play some games in Phoenix, and obviously you've played a lot of games this year. What do you think? Where do you see this team? How far do you think this team can go?
I feel like we can go all the way to state and win what we should have won last year. I believe in everybody, and I know we can do it.
What do you think of what do you think this team will have to do to get to that level?
Just play as a team like we know how to do, and play together and not play one-on-one basketball. Play as a team and share the ball.
Well, ladies, I'm going to ask you some questions. Cannon knows these questions kind of, so she kind of has a little heads up on you, Gracie. But some of these questions are going to be directly pointed to both of you. So we'll start. They're easy. You'll be fine with them. But what is your favorite movie of all time?
I don't know. I don't really have a favorite movie. I like comedies, so.
It'd probably be Avengers,
Avengers.
the one that came out the latest.
I think it was last week, Lauren said that her favorite movies were horror movies, and she liked, was it The Conjuring? And all
Yeah.
those kind of surprised me a little bit. That's not typically what you get.
Right.
I'm going to ask this question. This will be 3 or 4 weeks in a row. Where would you like to go this Christmas for a Christmas tournament as opposed to the frigid temperatures of Myrtle Beach? Which the tournament was good, but
I'd probably go back to Phoenix because I liked the weather and the hotel, and it was really beautiful. I liked seeing the Grand Canyon, but I also liked South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, because I don't ever get to go there often, and I liked the beach even though it was cold.
Cannon say.
Somewhere warm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. What was the funniest thing that happened on that trip that you can remember, both of you?
Probably when me, Selena, Hope, and Kamari were on the beach and we just throwing sand at each other and chasing each other around and acting like goofballs, and Coach Trent hearing us from all the way from the beach.
Cannon, did you get in the water?
I put my feet in. I didn't get in it.
It was a little cold. What is the best part, thinking about, what is the best part about overnight trips for you all?
Definitely getting closer as a team, because the only time we've really spent together prior to that would be practices and the overnight, and staying in the same room as each other for almost a week. That helps us get closer.
Same question.
Same thing as Kanan said. I've gotten closer with Hope and Kamari over the past years, from last year and this year, from sharing a room with them. And it's fun crashing the seniors' room because we all pile up in there and just sit in there and get all their nerves.
Who is the funniest player on the team?
It'd probably be Selena.
I think Kamari.
Yeah, a lot of people have said Kamari. What's your favorite gym to play in besides the Wildcat Arena?
It'd probably be Campbell County, because since they're just a big rival, it's fun to play.
Cannon, you're just making your rounds here, so I'll give you a pass on that one. What's your all's favorite ice cream?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
What little known fact about you all that people wouldn't know that you have? Can you all sing, dance, write? What do y'all do? Anything special that we might be surprised about?
I want to be a teacher when I grow up, so I take care of little kids.
Okay, that's good. Cannon?
I like to read a lot.
What is your favorite memory as a Lady Wildcat so far?
Probably going to Myrtle Beach and just being around the girls, like as a teammate.
Probably from both of the trips we've taken, Greenville and South Carolina, we've gone closer, and it's funny when hope falls and everybody screams hope in the house.
What's your favorite sport besides basketball, both of you?
Volleyball.
Softball,
Greatest influences in your life?
Kobe Bryant.
My mom.
That's really nice. Is there a food that your mom makes that you don't like to eat? Made you eat when you were young?
Brussels sprouts.
I don't beans.
What do girls worry about more before a ball game than, say, the guys that'll be up on the set? What do you girls worry about more?
Is my hair looking okay?
Yeah, probably what we look like.
Do y'all get nervous before games?
I do a lot. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Do y'all want to play sports like after high school?
I do.
I don't know. Maybe.
Anything you'd like to say before we close it out? Shout out to your mom sitting. Both of your all's moms are in here.
Hey, Kimberly. How you doing? And I love you, Michael.
Hi, Mom.
So that's Gracie Herring and Cannon Green, member of the Oak Ridge High School Lady Wildcats. Coach, any final comments before we turn towards the guys' part?
No, I'm just looking forward to the next couple of weeks, wrapping up the district and having some tough road games ahead of us to prepare and be ready.
Clinton on Friday, Carnes on Tuesday, and then a week from, I guess this Friday's Campbell County. So
Right.
then Cleveland, East Hamilton, Fulton, and you're done.
Right.
It's hard
crazy.
to believe, isn't it?
Crazy. I got to get ready for senior night. I'm not ready for that yet.
Coach, thanks a lot for joining us
Thank
here.
you.
We're going to turn our attention to the boys here in a second. This is Off the Glass, the Oak Ridge High School Basketball Coaches Show, and we'll be back to talk about the boys basketball team in a moment. Thank you.
Everything we do is in search of more go. If it can withstand 0 degrees, can it go -20? If it can run through 5 inches of water per hour, can it go to 6? We go. So it goes. So you can go. It's hard to stop a train.
Train, extreme conditions testing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling.
I gotta go shower.
It's laundry night.
Dishwasher needs to run.
And the Hot Water Wars. A Rinnai tankless water heater gives you an endless supply of hot water for everything you need to do. Rinnai, hot water for all.
We're always moving. Scratch that. We're always moving forward. But forward can sometimes look a little backwards. Or like circles. Or like nothing at all. But we never stop. We never stop. Because life never stops. It's hard to stop a train.
Train, extreme conditions testing. It's hard to stop a train. Really hard. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling.
Everything we do is in search of more go. If it can withstand 0 degrees, can it go negative 20? If it can run through 5 inches of water per hour, can it go to 6? We go. So it goes. So you can go. It's hard to stop a train.
Welcome back to the show here on BBB Channel 12. We're getting our set to switch over gears to the boys' side of things. Coach Green is running a little bit late, but we do have some special guests with us. Members of the Oak Ridge team. On the left side, that is Nick Dallas. On the right, Lucas Searcy. Is that how you pronounce that, Lucas?
Yeah, Searcy.
Yeah, I've known some other Searcys before, but I've heard somebody, PA announcers, call you Searcy, and then some others before. Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, a lot of people say Searcy, but I mean it doesn't really matter to me.
Dallas, yours is that's pretty easy. I mean, I don't. Are you a Cowboys fan?
I'm not actually.
You're not a Cowboys fan, so. Okay, let's talk Oak Ridge High School basketball. I know this is kind of awkward for you since your coach is not here, because I'm going to get you to diagram plays and talk about the. No. Let's talk about the season, guys. You right now stand first place in the district, undefeated in the district at 11-0. Right now, you can finish no worse than second place in the district. You can win the championship Friday by beating Clinton. A lot of people thought you guys wouldn't be as good this year. Talk about that and talk about how you feel the team has played this year.
With a lot of people leaving last year, I can see why a lot of people maybe thought we'd be young and not that good, but I think that's good motivation for us, and I think that we've played a good season, but we definitely have to, finish a lot stronger. Still have Clinton and I think 2 more district games after that, so definitely going to finish strong.
Nick, I'll ask you. Thinking back, let's go back, and I'm trying to remember. I remember Lucas for sure playing in the Meigs County game last year. Were you in the Meigs County game last year?
No, at that time I had actually just come out of a shoulder injury. I'd had surgery, so I was out at that part of the season.
What happened to your shoulder?
I tore my labrum.
So does that restrict you in any way right now?
No, I'm actually back. It happened. I had my surgery in August of 2018. 2018. So I came back around January of 2019. So I was able to finish off the season with JV, but I was in a huge role.
You kind of had a career night offensively last night. I think in terms of the varsity, was it 8 points last night?
Yes, sir.
You had one drive that was really spectacular. It looked like Kel with the ball coming towards the goal. Is that what are your strengths as a player?
Oh gosh, I try to use my strength as much as I can because that's kind of one of the things I have going for me. So rebounding and boxing out, guarding the big guys down low, even though I'm not as tall as them normally, I can normally use my muscle to keep them out of the paint. So probably defense and rebounding.
Lucas, what about you? What are your strengths?
Probably down low and rebounding stuff, and then offensively shooting the ball, shooting it pretty well.
Yeah, you're a pretty good three-point shooter, and you've had some games come to mind. You had some really 10 maybe against Powell, maybe, or that the first time around. You've had some other good games. Talk about the teams you've played this year. Obviously, Clinton almost beat you over there. Was that, did they just play incredibly well that night, or did you all not play as well?
We watched tape today, and Coach Green said it multiple times how bad we played that night and how much we need to improve this time around. And he said, they just outworked us, and they wanted it more, and we ultimately, got the win, but they definitely worked harder than us that night.
Let's talk about Coach Green while he's not here. I mean, we can say pretty much whatever because he's not watching you. Just kidding. What's it like? I know he's a hard guy to play for. I know because I was watching last night. I think it was. I don't know what he had done. I didn't notice it. Obviously, Coach sees more as a coach than I do as a fan or whatever. But he Jeremy in particular, he was right up in his face, and you don't take that personally, do you? What is it like to play for Coach Green?
Well, you can't take it personally because, he just wants you to get better, and whether or not he's whispering it to you or in your face screaming it at you, it's all coming. He means it all the same way. It's just the tone. He tells us all the time not to listen to the tone, but what he's saying.
Nick, same question. I mean, what has he whispered in your ear before that maybe that?
It's never whispering for me, actually. It's normally yelling. But it's always stuff to make us better because at the end of the day, we know and he knows that he loves us and he just wants us to get better as players and as men. So we can't take it personally. While we may not agree with him or something, we just have to take his criticism and go with it.
Well, you really can't. You have to go with it because look at the way he has developed players. I mean, he's the all-time winningest coach at Oak Ridge High School. I mean, we've had a program since the middle 40s, and he's been here 10 years, but we've had coaches be here 12 years, 14 years. So obviously he's doing something right. What is it? What are practices like with him? Does he get as intense as he does in practice as he does in games?
100%. It really depends on the day, on when we play again or how we played the last game, on how hard he goes on us. But it's always intense. It's always we need to get better. We always need to have that energy because if we don't, he always tells us you practice like you play. So if we don't practice that same intensity, we know we're not going to play to that standard that he expects us to play at and that we expect ourselves to play at.
I'm going to ask you a few questions here. These are a little bit different from the ones I've asked you before. Each one of you can answer these. They're pretty simple. I think you heard some of the girls a little bit. And I'll start really easy. What's your favorite kind of movie?
Oh, gosh. I think all around probably action. Probably action.
What's your favorite movie?
That's a tough one. I really don't know.
Okay. Lucas?
I like comedies, but I can't tell you what my favorite movie is. I like a lot of movies.
Okay. What's your favorite sport besides basketball?
Football.
Football.
Well, Nick, you're a big guy.
Oh, gosh.
You're a big guy. Is Coach Gaddis, has he ever stopped you in the hallways or in the arena and say, son, why don't you come out for football? Has he ever done that?
A couple times, actually. Yeah, I thought about it. I thought about playing, but my freshman year I hurt my knee, and then sophomore year I hurt my shoulder, so I just haven't had great luck as far as football goes. But I'm thinking about it next year.
Lucas, do you want to play anything besides basketball?
No, I think I'm going to stick with basketball.
What person, living or deceased, would you like to have met or meet?
I would like to talk to Peyton Manning.
Okay. Nick?
That's a tough one.
Living or dead? Could be Napoleon for all. I mean.
Thinking about it, maybe George Washington.
Okay. What team not on the schedule would you like to play?
As legit competition?
Just, would you like to play Memphis East or would you like to?
I think, yeah. I would want to play someone maybe from down there, Memphis, just because I would like to see how we hang with them. I think we can give any team a good run.
Lucas?
I want to play Sierra Canyon.
Okay. What's your favorite kind of ice cream?
I like mint chocolate chip ice cream.
I like chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream.
Who's your favorite athlete of all time?
My favorite athlete right now is Luka Doncic, but all time, I like watching Michael Jordan highlights, and I like LeBron. They're both like right side by side for me.
All time, I didn't like being on the bandwagon as a kid, so I used to, he was kind of on the bandwagon, but I used to love watching Ray Allen play.
Okay. Who is the biggest joker on the team?
Tim Williams.
I was thinking the same thing, Timothy.
Why do you say that? Everybody else has said that, but why do you say that?
Welcome. Just because no matter what, whether coach is serious or whether we're all having fun, he just always has something to say. He always lightens the mood, has a joke to crack.
Both of you, what's your favorite memory so far playing basketball at Oak Ridge?
Going to Nashville was fun. It was just fun being with the team, and we got to play some really good teams, and that was fun.
I'd have to agree with that, staying together with the team.
And the Bahamas. The Bahamas was fun.
I didn't get to go to the Bahamas, but
Nick Dallas, can you dunk?
no.
Lucas Searcy, can you dunk?
No, not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
What's your favorite food that you like to eat?
I love Japanese food, like Makata.
That's my favorite restaurant.
Each one of you, greatest influence in your life?
Probably my dad.
Yeah, my parents.
What little known fact about you that people might not know? Do you have any hidden talents that we wouldn't know about?
I played piano for 9 years.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Can you top that, Lucas?
No, I don't think I can top the piano. I'm pretty good in school.
Well, that's good. That's important. That's important. Who's the biggest trash talker on the team, in your opinion?
Probably Preston or Jonathan, right? Yeah, Preston.
Are you all trash talkers?
I usually let my play talk.
I only trash talk if I know the person I'm guarding, personally.
Are you afraid of anything?
My mom.
Yeah, my mom's pretty scary too.
Okay. What's the most fun, the funnest things, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, that happened on your overnight trips?
Watching Stafford eat pizza at Blaze.
I got to ride a jet ski in the Bahamas, and that was awesome.
Besides the Wildcat Arena, what's your favorite gym to play in?
I like Powell's gym.
I actually kind of like Carnes Gym for some reason.
Just makes you feel comfortable there?
I guess.
Do y'all want to play sports, like after high school?
I used to. I don't really plan on it anymore.
I'd like to work hard and see where it takes me, but I think I could try to go to college with my education too.
Guys, I appreciate you joining us tonight, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Coach Aaron Green has joined us here. Coach, why don't you talk about these two guys?
Yeah, I missed the first part of the.
They were really good. They were really good.
I knew they would do well. Both these kids are hard workers, really good kids, guys you enjoy coaching. I think they all have their own, I guess, unique skill set. Nick had 8 points, I think, in the fourth quarter the other night, and I know I know Lucas had 10 a couple of times, I think, against Powell, made a couple threes. So these guys have contributed greatly to what we've been able to accomplish up to this point. And I speak for, I guess, the entire team. They're a joy to be around and a joy to coach. And most coaches, and a lot of years can't always say that, but come from great families, and they've got a bright future for sure.
Coach, let's talk basketball here. Guys, we played since the last show. Thursday at Carnes, Friday Anderson County, and then last night against Powell. Let's roll the highlights for the first two games, the Carnes and the Anderson County games. These ball games, Carnes has always been tough. Last year, as we talked about on the show last week and many times, it wasn't for a miraculous I guess Marcus Smith there at the end of the ball game. They're the district champions, and you're the runner-up.
Yeah.
You're playing Bearden in the semis, and maybe not go to the.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, there's a lot of factors in postseason, and last year was kind of a similar situation. Their record wasn't great. I think we beat them twice by double digits, and then I kind of knew going into the game it was going to be a dogfight, but in this game we got off to a hot start, which we haven't done lately in a lot of games. I think we got up 9 to 10 to 2. Stewart made a couple threes to start the game, which kind of got us going offensively, and had a spell there late first, sometime point in the second quarter where didn't play great, but stretched it out I think to a 12 or 14 point lead at halftime, and then as we've been able to do the last several weeks, we've extended our lead in the third quarter, and I thought we played well the second half.
Coach, one of the things I just noticed a minute ago, and you'll see it some more, I think, in the Anderson County game as well, is the development of Kel Slater. He is fearless. He just takes it to the rim almost. It seems like, and I guess maybe that's what you want him to do, because he's either going to make the shot or he's going to get fouled, and he has really done a good job of that.
He's played well, I think, really since the Cleveland game when we played Cleveland at home. Number one team in the state. I thought he was a factor and had some big buckets for us. So going to the basket, here he is in this clip here, going to the hole and makes a good pass there to Isaiah. But he's brought us some scoring off the bench, and a guy that is a threat offensively and can put some pressure on the other team's defense in transition. And he's definitely played well. Here's a highlight here for Stafford. He probably maybe could have arguably got a technical for maybe hanging on the rim. I know Coach Henson wasn't too happy about the no call, but again, the dunk was off a steal and with a great finish, and here we are again off a defensive stop. And there's who we just talked about, Kel Slater, on the finish he's a lefty, so he's finishing on the left side there. And here's Milway making a three, and I think the last 5 or 6 games he's made a three, if I'm not mistaken. You'd probably know for sure, but
he's shooting 50% too from 3-point range too, which is for a big guy. I mean, that's he knows when to take the shots.
Right, and I think Lucas and Nick would probably say too. Would agree. He's I think if you lined everybody up, he'd be one of the guys that makes a high percentage along with those 2 guys as well. But he's a guy that can shoot it, and based on matchups, he's probably going to get a lot. I guess cleaner looks than some of our other guys because he's going to have bigger guys guarding him. But we obviously have a few plays in for him to get some threes, and he's made a couple in transition on trails, like right here. He's trailing there in the background, but just an unselfish bunch. We've shared the ball really well the last month and a half, I guess. I don't think there's really been a point all year we haven't shared it well, but. But this was Carnes is talented. I mean, their record's not great, but they've got some athletes. I got a big kid inside, and there's Kel with a three. But definitely, when you can go over there and win, as you know, it's a good win.
Yeah, fine game here. You pulled away late in the ball game. What I was talking to you about, I guess, last night after the ball game was just what I consider to be just the depth right now that you've built with this team. I mean, I know you as coaches, you like to have a rotation, your main rotation coming into the game, but you have built a lot of depth this year.
We have, and we've got I guess we got 9 or 10, maybe even 11 guys we could rotate in there depending on matchups and the game and how it's going. And our guys know, I think it's always good to kind of be up front. Our guys know kind of, everything's earned, and, if they play better, they'll, have a chance to get more minutes. If they practice better, they'll get more minutes. But, really this late in the year, your rotation's, for the most part set. But again, that can change, really in a day's, from one day to the next. So, but yeah, I think our depth is one of our strengths of our team for sure.
This is the Anderson County game. Coach, you and I were talking last night on the air about the district, and you don't pay attention to those things. I do. I'm one of those stat nerds, I guess. And I was looking at the standings and just the head-to-head play that you have with teams right below you. Most of the teams have been eliminated from a chance to win the district. Clinton's still there, and obviously, last night, a win over Powell. We're going to see some highlights from that here in a moment. You can finish no worse than second, which, obviously, that's not what you want. You want a championship, obviously. You're 11-0, and we'll see those Powell. But you're in the region tournament, and it's for the Oak Ridge. It's for the 25th consecutive year, if the standings and the way the brackets have been the last several years.
Yeah, the 1 and 2 gets a bye to the region, and that's a big deal. There's it's really kind of debatable. Each year we vote, but for the last since I've been here, we've got 8 teams in our league. A couple years we had 9. We had Gibbs, and so our 1 and 2, we kind of reward our 1 and 2 finishers in the league to have them biased to the semifinals of the district tournament, which gets you into the region. So it's a big deal. Like you said, I don't. What's the streak again as far as the number of straight region tournaments appearances?
25.
25. So that's obviously, that goes way back even before. Maybe even before Chuck Carringer, I don't know.
He was coaching them.
He was coaching them, so that goes back a long ways, and so it's it's definitely something that's good. Yeah.
Well, guys, you can.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about that. Obviously, the district tournament will be at our place this year, which is always good. It rotates from year to year, and that's an advantage. It's a huge advantage to being at home.
Well, I mean, I think most teams would play better at home. Sometimes you have a tendency to shoot it better at home, just because that's where you obviously putting up more shots than anywhere else. But the other thing for playing at your district tournament at your home floor, not having to travel. You have your normal home game routine, and for me as a coach, I think that's an advantage just in itself, and get a little bit more. You're not having to drive to. Obviously we've been to every district since I've been here. We've had it every place. I think Campbell County, Karnes, Powell, Halls.
Anderson
County had it. So we've been to all the places for the district tournament, and including our place. So it's good to get it back.
Of course, we've been coaching 10 years. I know.
Yeah, getting old. That's for sure. There's Jameson up to Graff going to the hole and finishing there, and it's a good win on the road.
Dylan, let's go ahead and roll the Powell highlights from last night too, because we're kind of running long here. This was last night at the Wildcat Arena.
Yeah, great crowd.
Yeah, sure was.
Good crowd. Great pass there by Isaiah. I thought, we again got off to a pretty good start. I think got up 12. Actually got up 16. I think at one point in the first half, and they cut it back to 8. Made some threes, and then in the start of the third quarter, we made some adjustments and got it out in transition and got the lead extended. But as you know, Dave, we've had some battles with Powell over the years, and their Coach Barnes does a great job, and it's good to get a win for sure.
I was talking to Jeremy Miller Friday night at Anderson County. I was talking, those early ball games, he was scoring 25, 27, 29 points a game. Obviously, word gets out that this kid can shoot. This kid, you got to play him a little tougher, and obviously he has adapted to that, because he's not forcing shots or anything like that. But it's kind of a maturation of a player right there.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've got some really good coaches in our league, and they watch tape and scout. So he went through a stretch. And you have ups and downs throughout the year as a player, and but one thing Jeremy's been able to do, he's continued to be patient. He don't force things. He's taking good shots, and I'd like to see him he smile or laugh. He heard me say this. I'd like to see him crash the glass a little bit more. He's a really good offensive rebounder. He needs to go more than he does, but he's a great finisher around the basket. Very long and athletic kid that's had a great year, and he's one of those guys that if he plays well, we're gonna obviously have a chance to do some great things here down the stretch.
Coach, last night I saw you kind of up in his face a little bit. Do you remember that conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Was it a whispering conversation?
No.
They said sometimes you whisper, sometimes
you whisper, yeah. Yeah, no doubt. He, what was that last night with Jeremy?
I didn't put it on the highlights.
Yeah, I think it's probably loafing. He's probably loafing around and, didn't sprint out of a trap or something that, I've been on him about that he did in the game. And, sometimes, he can, a lot of our kids can, but, Jeremy he's very coachable. He can take a chewing with the best of them, and he responded and had a good game.
Nick and Lucas said, they understand where it's coming from, so it's,
Yeah. I think, just being honest with players is important, and, I'm pretty animated anyway, and that's really in practices, it's really not any difference as far as, the approach and how we coach and, communication. The guys know I love them. I think that's the biggest thing. They know I want the best out of them, and, sometimes that's not always going to be, it's not easy. It's kind of like your family. You got, you have tough times, and things are not always going to be easy, and, I think to get the most out of kids, you got to push them.
Coach, was your dad hard on you because you played for your dad in high school?
Yeah, that's an understatement, David. He was, he was really tough on me, but honestly, once I got to college, I didn't really understand it till I got to college.
Well, Kevin O'Neal was pretty tough on you too.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd have been able to handle him if it wasn't for my dad. Because once I got to college, I actually remember one day thinking, man, I'm glad I went through what I went through, and I'm glad he pushed me like he did, because I would not have been able to accomplish what I was able to accomplish as a player without obviously my mom and my dad. But obviously my dad being my coach, he never did let me get satisfied, and you could always get better. And I think that's, and the work ethic too, and I think that's something that's still instilled in me today.
There's big Nick Dallas scoring around the rim there, 8 points last
I think
night.
he was 4 for 4 from the field, if I'm not mistaken. Nick, did you miss one?
He had one drive, I was telling him, it reminded me of Kelly.
Yeah.
He went right to the rim, and
Yeah,
I asked him if he could dunk, and he said no.
Him and Lucas both, well, maybe not much. They want me to play call for them when they come in the game, but yeah, they did some good things, and there's Tim Williams on a pass there. There's one of Nick's finishes. But good team win. We scored 92 points, so obviously anytime you can do that, you're doing some good things offensively.
Coach, we're about done here. We got Clinton on Friday. You can win the district championship Friday. Carnes on Tuesday coming up.
Yeah, Clinton hadn't really had have a whole lot of time, but Clinton's playing probably one of the they're hot at the right time. They've won several in a row, and they won last night against Central, I think, by 17. And Winchester's obviously a big part of their team, but they've got other guys around him with Garner and Lockhart, and they're playing well. Well, I've told our guys today we got lucky at their place. We probably should have lost the game. I thought they played harder and tougher, but we'll take it. Sometimes it's rather be lucky than good. So we'll have to play well on Friday.
And then Carnes on Tuesday. You just played them Thursday.
Yeah, and then turn right around and play them again. And they're a team that's talented enough to, if you don't play well, they can knock you off.
Coach, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
It's Aaron Green, head coach of the Oak Ridge High School Wildcats. We appreciate him, along with Nick Dallas, Lucas Searcy for joining us here, and Coach Paige Redmond was here earlier, along with Gracie Heron, and your daughter, Cannon Green, made a TV appearance on the show. Appreciate Dylan in the back. Stay tuned for more sports talk. Looks like we got the Anderson County Mavericks in the house here. Stay tuned for that. Until next week, this is David Clary saying, so long, everybody.
On the Trane test range, you learn what makes our heating and cooling systems so reliable. If there's a breaking point, we'll find it.